All right, we are off Chapter 6B using ChatGPT to write a story. So, what we're going to do is we are going to create a prompt generator and a story generator, and we're going to use these to send the information to ChatGPT. Now, before we do that though, let's get familiar with the ChatGPT Node.js module. So I'm going to say ChatGPT Node.js. There we go. This does not look right. Let's keep going. Maybe I'll add in open AI there. Here we are. Let's just jump into the platform documentation. And we've got some examples. So it looks like the module's name, if I zoom in here, the module's name is OpenAI. Looks like we create a new one. We use a completion. We send it a message. So a system message, you are a helpful assistant. And then a role is user. And then we're saying write a haiku about recursive programming. And then we're logging the response. Some embeddings, text to speech, speech to text, fine tuning, batch. So we go to chat completions. So your helpful assistant, write haiku, choosing a model, building prompts. Okay, so we're just going to use the chat completions. Look how nested that is. That's gnarly. So let's start with the high level. Let's start with a story generator first, and then let's worry about a prompt later. So I'm going to go into here. Let's go to source tests, behavioral. We have members. Let's create a new directory. Call it. I already have stories. We call, yeah, let's put it in stories. Cool. Control space, create.test. And let's get behavioral test, and let's call it story generator. So stories. Let's have it send 8-bit test. Perfect. So now our test should be failing. Indeed it is. Let's jump over to it. Okay, can create story generator. So let's say throws with missing. And let's go const equals, and then we'll make it synchronous for now. Maybe we may, I don't think we need async. Assert dot does throw. Let's go story generator dot generator. Let's use a builder method. That's actually gonna pass because I don't have that builder method defined. But what won't pass if I use the error assert utility and I assert that the error is a missing parameters, and the parameters are, well, you know what? I think there's probably a few of these, but let's think out loud about it here. Does the story generator actually generate the prompt? Or does it receive a prompt generator? Let's just keep it really simple now. Let's say a story generator at the highest level is going to have a generate story method on it. And it's going to use all the parameters that are filled out in the generate story, where you're building and selecting all your story elements. And it's going to take family members. It's going to take well, it's going to need family member. So at the very least, we know when we're generating a story, it's going to have to take in family member IDs. In order to get our family member IDs, if I hit Command P and hit family.store, families, so we have families and we have family members, but we're only going to need family members. But what I'm going to do is in the builder method, I'm actually going to have it take the store factory and have it pull the stores that it needs off of that. So I don't have to go refactor as this thing needs to do more lookups. Now, what that means, though, is that this is going to be an async call. Anytime we're dealing with data stores and we're dealing with I/O like this, it's going to be async. So let's just start. Let me just make it async right now. So it fails. It says generator's not a function, but it expected a spruce error. So let's give it that. Let me go public async generator. Let me go assert options, and let me just pass it stores. I should pass while the types are mad at us. Did I spell generator wrong? I did, didn't I? Oh, public static async. Perfect. So now go test. Detected static async creates with required. Let's go await story generator dot generator, and let's pass it stores is this dot stores. So I'm gonna pass it the stores fixture, not the actual store factory. Just out of convenience. You could go this dot stores dot get factory, right? Get store factory, but we don't. That's not just easy enough because watch this. If I go options, stores, simple store factory, a simple store factory, if I command click on it, just has a get store method. Well, get the store fixture has a get store method on it that passes through to the store factory. The fixture again is only available in our test. So what that means is I should be able to go like that. Now it's passing and all the types are passing. So let's go, let me extract this to something useful. Story generator options. Great news. Now we need our next test. And let's say, let's just start getting right into the generate story, and we'll have it return a string. So we'll say async generate method throws with missing, same kind of thing. And we'll just build this up piece by piece. Well, okay, look at this. Firstly, I want to ignore this. You could say TS expect error or something else fancy. I'm not, I don't worry about it too much. But I definitely don't want to create this story generator again. So let's do this. Let's go detected static async for each. Await super dot each. Let's go this dot generator equals. Let me move this to the before each. Generate a story generator. And then let's go this const equals await assert does throw async. This dot generator dot generate story. And then what should that thing take? Assert. We know it's a missing parameters. Which parameters should it take? Well, let's look at the page, the view that's generating these. So I still need to boot my theater, so I'm going to do that. So cannot read property undefined. All right, well, let's at least fix that. That is happening because this dot generator, it's saying void is not assignable to type story generator because generators promise void. Did you see that right here? Promise void. So let's make it return something. Turn new this. So that should address that. Now I'm expecting to get a did not receive spruce error, got generate story is not a function, right? Or is not a method. Let's see. This dot generate story is not a function. Believe that. So I'm going to click there, command period, declare method, async. And then I'm going to go delete. Now it's going to say expected an error, but never got one. Okay, so the question is, what missing parameters do we use? I think the way to answer that is to just go see what things that we pass and select, what things we select when we're generating a story. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Cool. And let's go write story. So we've got story elements, family members, current challenge. So I think current challenge is optional, but story elements and family members are not. So let's do that. Up into our test, let's say missing parameters, story elements, family member IDs. Let's do that. Expected story elements and family member IDs, but found nothing. All right, let's add it. Story, oh, I spelled elements wrong there. Story elements, family member IDs, perfect. Nice. All right, let's get these types passing. So I'm gonna go options. Story elements is a string array. Family member IDs is string array. And then current challenge, we'll just make an optional string. We'll just get that there. So now let's say test. Generate story throws teammate. Oh, no, not teammate. Throws family member. Or how about throws if no story elements selected? Let's do that. Let's go. Let's make this a little bit easier here. Let's say interface. Generate story options, different than the story generator options. It's like one's a noun, one's a verb, yeah? And then I'm not quite sure how I want to refactor this yet, but I do think, let me just do it bad here, and let's change this to invalid parameters, and the parameter is family members, but let's do this. Current family member IDs. Generate ID. Because that's not what I'm testing. I'm testing that story elements is not empty. There, let's see that. Invalid, but got missing. Okay, but now I'm kind of seeing how we can refactor this. Let's do that next. So first thing I'm going to do is just pass it options. That should get us past the missing parameters error. Perfect. And then let's do this. Throw new schema error. Code invalid parameters, and parameters are story elements. Perfect. Cool. Let's do some refactoring here. Let me do this. Let me go extract this, generate story. Let's move this to the bottom. And it should, let's not do that. Options is generate story options. Let's pass it through to options here. Then let's get rid of that. This is still going to be mad. I'm just going to ignore it. Again, you could do TS expect error or any other thing you want. I don't have strong feels. Doing a TS ignore in a test where you're purposely calling something bad has just never been a problem for me. Okay, Generate story throws if no story selected. Okay, so now let's do this. Oops. Let's go. Generate stories if no family member selected. Oh boy, lots of copy paste jobs here. So let's move this down to here. And let's go that. And now it's family member IDs. And now this is starting to look like something I could maybe extract here. Expected family member IDs, but found story elements. Let's do this. If story elements dot length is greater than 0, no, equals 0, throw there. Else, I'm just gonna duplicate that line. And now it's family or IDs. Right on. Okay. This is looking like it's time to extract here a little bit. So let me do this. Go options, and then let me go parameters. Okay. And then we'll just say method assert generate throws invalid params. Generate story options. Let's drop this in here. Let me drop this in here. Okay. Let's cut that down below. So this is actually going to be rewritten like that. And then it should probably throw, I guess let's just give it everything it needs, yeah? What about if you pass a bad family member ID? Well, right now, if we write that test, it's going to fail. Let's just do this. Let's try this test. Throws if passed bad family member ID. Okay. So this is just going to look pretty much the same here. That's just going to pass. Okay, how about this? Test. Protected static async. Passes if passed everything needed. How about that? Start there. Well, what we need is a family member. So I should be able to seed, if I recall, family members 1, and then I should be able to go const member equals await this dot get first family member, and then I should be able to do await this dot generate story. Family member IDs should be member.id. Story elements should be, it could be anything. These are just strings. And then that should not throw. Yeah. Perfect. So let's do this. Let's go. Family member IDs. Const member ID equal, whoops. ID equals the 0th one there, yeah? So now let's do a lookup. Now, in order to look up a family member, we're gonna need the family member store, but we don't have that. I passed it to the generator builder method, but never set it. So let's do that. Const. Let's destructure stores. Let's go const family members equals await stores dot get store family members. And then let's just pass it to the constructor. Well, the constructor, go private constructor family members is the family members store. This dot family members equals family members. Let's declare it. Let's make it private. Now I should be able to go const match equals wait. This dot family members dot find one and say if not match. Notice I did not look it up by ID. Yeah, because look at this. See, I only seeded one family member for this test. Now, if I seed one here, now this one is not going to fail. Expecting it to throw. Now I need to filter by ID. Let's see if that works. Bam. Right on, because the ID should never be undefined, so it's just not, or null or undefined in this case. Okay, now let's make sure it throws if the second family member is no good. Throws if second family member ID is bad. So let's take both these out again. Member ID, generate ID. This is a assert generate throws invalid parameters, and the invalid parameter is family member IDs, right? Yeah. There it is, because we're only checking the first one. So let's go check the next. Let's do this. For const family member of member IDs, if not match, that's going to fix that, but break another one. So let's do this. Throw invalid family member IDs. And let's say this, if family member IDs dot length equals 0, throw this dot throw invalid family member IDs. So now we're checking that these are all greater than 0. Ooh, there we go. You know what? I want to, though, put in a better message here, I think. Let's wait. Let's wait until we see it on the front end, because we're going to submit this and it's just going to say invalid parameters, and we're not going to know if it was about selecting one, if it was about one that was bad. We'll revisit that. Okay. I think next up is let's make sure that it's actually now it's got everything. Let's make sure it's calling ChatGPT to do the completion. Now, I think it makes sense to make sure that it's actually calling the ChatGPT API or library. Just as a refresher, look at how we're going to have to do this. It's OpenAI chat completions create. So what do you think the chances are that they have good typing and the ability to create a test double really easily? I'm thinking 0 is the chance. So we could just use a curl, but let's actually test double their module, and it's going to be a pain in the butt, but it's great practice. So first thing, let's just write the test, protected static async. And let's say calls chat GPT completions create. Okay. So how do we do this? First thing, I think it makes sense is that it looks like I'm creating this family member a lot. So let's move this to the before each. Then let's do, or maybe we do a few of them, say 3, and then let's go this dot members equals await this dot family members dot find. Cool. Let's declare that private, and let's go family member, make it an array. Why is that mad? Source is missing, probably because it's hidden. Is there such thing as a public family member? There we go. Now we can get rid of this, and let's do something like this dot member. So let's do this. Private get member is return this dot members. Wait, private static this dot members 0. So now we can go this. There. Nice. Okay. So maybe we just have this go this dot members dot, what am I looking for? Map m dot id. That should work. Sweet. Now let's do method generate story with required. No, I did not mean to do that. I meant to do a method. Generate story with required. Look at that. Now, let me clean this up a little bit. So, how are we going to check that the ChatGPT API was called here? Well, looking at their examples, OpenAI chat completion. So it doesn't even look like we're having to instantiate anything. We're just calling this function on this object, on this object, on this object. So let's do this. Let's go story generator dot OpenAI equals, and then chat, and then completions, then create was hit equals true. Let's go let equals false. Then we should go await this dot generate story with required. Let me rename that now. Actually, let's do it. Let's call it generate story with all members. That's kind of more accurate to what we're doing. And then let's go assert dot is true was hit. You did not call create on chat completions. Okay, so let's do this. Something like this, or no, story generator dot chat. Does it look like dot completions dot create? And is this async? It is. Let's go wait. That got mad at us. What's this last error though? Cannot read properties completion. So it's OpenAI. Let me just copy that. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, there we go. So I expect that last one succeeds, but all the rest fail, and all the rest fail because I'm only monkey patching it here. Well, so question, how do we make these other ones pass? And then how do we make these other ones pass and ensure that this is pointing to a proper OpenAI module or library? So watch this. We're going to go protected static async before all, await super dot before all, and I'm going to go assert dot is equal story generator dot OpenAI equals OpenAI. But I'm not even importing the library yet. Let's do this. Make sure to set story generators static prop OpenAI to OpenAI to the OpenAI from OpenAI. Start there. So all the tests are going to fail now. OpenAI is not defined. So I'm going to hit Control Shift space, right? No, Control Option space, yarn, add OpenAI. Let's install the dependency. Cool. Now I should be able to click here and command period import. So if I go to here, make sure to set story generator static prop OpenAI to OpenAI from OpenAI. All right, let's do it. Public static OpenAI equals OpenAI. Okay, now I expect a bunch of other errors. But not this one. Is it not chat? OpenAI chat completions. Yeah, what? Oh no, the API is not the same. It's not the same. So if we do dot chat, what is this? Dot completions? What? Dot class? Then we have to do... Oh, great. This is out of date. So let's just see this. npm.js OpenAI. It's a little bit bigger so we can all see it. Oh boy. So we create a new client and then we have access. Well, that's not awesome. So let's do this. So we're creating a new OpenAI. So this is something like this. Class. Let's start with a spy. Spy OpenAI extends OpenAI. Is that right? Looks like they're actually capitalizing it, which tells us it's instantiated. So let's go do that. OpenAI. OpenAI. I still want, let's capitalize this. I still want to do this check to make sure that the class is being set here. That, right? Still want to do that. But this is not going to work anymore. So let's cut that line. This is no longer how we're going to do it because the docs there are not right. You did not call create on chat completion. We know we didn't because we got to get a proper spy in here or assert or something. So if we create a new client, now it looks like on that client. So let's go public constructor. What does the constructor here take? Constructor, base URL, API key. Oh, it's object, but it's client options. So let's see. We go options. Well, client options. Can we import that? Yes. And we're going to go super options. Now, do you think OpenAI is extends core? Does core API implement something? It doesn't. So the way I would like to work with this is being able to go implements and have an interface, but there is no interface. There are no interfaces. We're just dealing with classes directly. And they are big, very big. So we have the spy. Now, what I'm going to do is go this dot constructor options equals options. Whoops. And then I think one more thing here, because we need to get access to this OpenAI client, we need to go public static instance as a spy client, and then in the constructor when you go the spy OpenAI.instance equals this. So we can go assert.isTruthy story generator dot spy OpenAI.instance. You can say you did not construct an OpenAI instance. So that's a good start, I think. You did not construct an OpenAI instance. Okay. That means that we're going to have to go this dot OpenAI equals spy OpenAI. And was hit does not count anymore. So first things first, let's construct one to at least get this to pass. So we'll go maybe just in here. This dot OpenAI equals new story generator dot OpenAI. Let's just see what happens. I have a feeling this is going to fail. Yeah, look, OpenAI API key is missing. Either provide it or instantiate. So let's just provide it. API key. Yeah, you did not construct an OpenAI instance. Because I did it up here in the before each. So let's go into, I still want to do it that way. Let's go override the class reference in the before each before we construct anything. So in the before all, we're making sure it's pointed to the proper OpenAI. Let's say must call super in derived class. Did I not do that? Did that though. There. Must call super derived class before accessing this. Okay, that makes sense. All right. So now we've got to check that it's actually calling the proper okay. Now we need to make sure that it's actually, we've got it that it's instantiating an OpenAI instance, but now we need to do something like this. Watch this. Method. Oh, that's not right. OpenAI. Let me go get. Okay. So now I want to do something like this. This dot OpenAI dot assert API key equals this dot and then what? I want it to match whatever I'm passing to generator. So let's do this. OpenAI key. Or is it like this? OpenAI API key is a string. So that also means that up in my missing parameters here, we need to go stores and open API key. Then this is now saying we're missing OpenAI key. So let's do this. OpenAI key equals this dot OpenAI key. That doesn't exist. So let's go declare. We'll say private static OpenAI key equals Let's generate a random API key every time equals generate ID. Now assert API key equals, I'm gonna hit command period, declare method. And let's go public. Let's go expected string assert.is equal this dot constructor options dot API key equals expected wrong API key passed to OpenAI. I have a feeling now this is mad at us. Assert API key equals. We're just gonna pass it OpenAI. Let's do this. API key. Okay. So let's get to this throws with missing. Expected stores and OpenAI API key, but only found stores. So let's do the assert options. So I'm inside the builder method generate, and I'm just going to say OpenAI API key. So that fixed that one. Now the last one is we need to not be passing this. We need to be passing the OpenAI key that was passed from here. So let's do this. I'm going to change the signature of this to be an object. And then I'm going to go options. That. And then const options. Family members, open API key. And let's just do it here. Open API key. Right on. So the generator builder method now still takes the story generator options, but those have been expanded to accept an API key. I pass that in the before each. And I pass it this .api key, which right above, I'm just generating random ID. So now I should be able to go this .openai.assert chat completion called. Because now this is the client.chat.completions.create. So let's do this. Declare method. Public. So let's go public chat completions. No, don't do that. Where is it? Let's see. Let's see how they implemented this. There's completions equals a new completions. And then inside of completions, so maybe we do something like this. Instead of just redeclaring it there, we go this .chat.completions.create equals this .did create. And what does it return? A chat completion chunk or a chat completion. What's a chat completion? ID choices. A list of completions can be more than one if n is greater than 1. I don't know where n is referenced. Created model, so it's a chat completion. So let's do this. Did create completion equals true, and let's go return that as that. And then we import that. Let's try it here. Should be able to go async on this. Should fix that type error, I think. Why is this so mad? Oh, API promise. What? Let's see. There's all the things. All right, let's just start here. Let's go assert.is true. This dot, let me declare that private. It's false. This dot did complete, did not call this dot not call OpenAI dot chat dot completions dot, is it completions or completion? Completions dot create. All right, let's see. Did not call. All right. So let's go into generate. And this is async. So let's go await this.openai.chat.completions.create. I expect that to be med because we're not passing it the proper arguments, but I'm fine with that. Sweet. Well, probably makes sense that we do not actually call this if any of these things fail. So let's do this. Throws if second panel member. Let's just do this. This dot AI dot assert did not call chat. We should create. That's not a great method name, but it's a start. Declare that. Let's go public and then assert dot is false. This dot did completion. You called openai.chat.completions.create and should not have. There it is. You called and should not have. So let's go into our story generator implementation and let's move this visual. I think it's just got to go there. Perfect. All right, now we want to make sure it's calling the right things. So now we're starting to get into some prompts. Let's do this. Test, protect. Whoops. Async calls completion create with expected params. Well, what does this look like? It looks like it's got a model and messages. So let's just start this with expected model. Start it easy. This dot generate story with all members. And then let's go this dot OpenAI dot assert create completion call model equals, and then what do we want to do? Let's go here. What models do we have available? If I just go to chatgpt.com, again, there's GPT-4o01. Guess let's do 01. So if we jump back into here, go docs, GTP-4o, which looks like it matches ChatGPT-4o. So let's just try 01. That's the fancy one. 01. So this method doesn't exist on the OpenAI library or spy or test double. Look, yeah, actually, it's no longer a spy OpenAI. I will call it a mock since the assertions are built into it. And then let's go expected. And then let's go here. This dot create options equals options. Some options here. So what type is this? Oh boy. There's a lot of types in there. Let's go declare. And it gave it an any. That's awesome. So let me command click in there and let's look. Chat. What's this? Method retry. I don't care about any of that. Let's do this. There. Okay. So we're going to go assert.is equal this dot create options dot model equals, oh, look, that's nice. There's only an 01 preview. Let's do 01 preview then. No, expected. Did not pass expected model to create completion. But this is here we go. So let's do this. Oh boy. Do chat model like that. Okay. So now, 01 preview, I guess. There, did not pass expected model to the creation. Undefined does not equal 1 preview. So let's go into our story generator. Here's where we're creating it, and let's go model. Oops, model. Oh, 01 preview. I should fix that, right? So we're still missing some things there, but that's got us a good start. What else do we pass to this thing? Model and then messages. So we have to decide on our prompts now. Okay, let's do that. Protected static async passes expected message. First message, I guess. Let's go wait this dot generate with all members, and then let's go this dot OpenAI dot assert first completion message equals, and this looks like it's a role, so I want to do like role system is what I'm thinking. So we do text generation, role system, and your helpful assistant. Well, let's write our own thing here. Here like this. Role system, and then the next thing is content, and we'll say let me do it as these backticks so I can put some quotes in there. You are a master storyteller. Once a night, you gather with a family to tell amazing stories about that family. The family has filled out a form that includes their values, their family members, some elements they'd like incorporated into the story, as well as an optional challenge they are currently facing. You take this input and write a 10-minute bedtime story that incorporates all the family pieces to create a once in a lifetime amazing creative bedtime story to help the family connect with themselves, each other, and to fall asleep. family form follows. Okay, sheesh. Here we go. Let's look at this. All right, so let's go declare method. Public. Expected. And then we'll do assert is equal deep. This dot create options dot messages 0 equals expected. Did not pass the expected first message to the completion. There. There. Rather, it failed nicely here. Did not pass expected first message completion. Deep equal fill. Actual need the following changes. Undefined would have to be renamed. So let's go into here and let's just do this one at a time. Messages. Content. Isn't there a role? Yeah, role. System. Content. Let's see. Test. Yeah, look at that. So role passed. Now we need to make this match. So I'm just going to copy it out of the test here. Just selecting it will auto copy it. Let's go paste. Yeah, right on. So now let's start on the next message, which is the prompt built from all the inputs, and which is the family value, family members. And now that I think about it, we need to actually pass the family ID to get the family values. So let's hit that next. So let's just start by creating, whoops, the message we want that includes the family members, story elements, things like that. So let's do this. Generates expected second message. Let's go const expected equals. So we're gonna need to kind of jump a little bit here. We are obviously we need a family. So let's do this. This dot family equals await this dot get first family. Declare private. Is there a public family? Oh, is there just a family? Sweet. Let's go back down to here. So let's do this. Family name. This dot family dot name. Family values. And then this is going to be a multi-line thing, so maybe it makes sense to go maybe something like this. Family name, double space, family values, family values. Let's just take a look at this. This dot log dot info, whoops, dot log expected, whoops. Expected. I accidentally did an extra import here. EXP from constants, not helpful. So let's look at this. Family name, blah, 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 family values, cool. Then we need family. Now we need family members. But every family member has a bio. So it's something like this. Family members. Name. Well, let's generate this like this. How about const members equals this dot members dot map. And it's a string. It'll be member name. And let's go to here. M dot name. And then let's go member bio. M dot bio. And then let's join it by a new line. And let's drop it in here. See how that looks. All right, cut out that drink. Okay, now we've got it logging the prompt, or the second line prompt. Family name, family values, family members. Maybe we don't need it. We just can do name and bio. It's probably fine for now. I mean, it's gonna have some new lines and stuff in it, so I don't know if that's gonna matter. And then we need story elements. So let's do this. Const story elements equals. So let's just do that for right now. So then let's put that up here with members. Maybe we say generate family members part of prompt. Start there, I guess. And then let's go const elements equals story elements dot map. No, maybe it's just a join by a comma. And then we do this. Here are the story elements the family wants worked into the story. And we go elements. So let's look at this. I don't know what this puny code thing is. Some other dependency brought it in. So we have family name there, family values there, family members, name bio, name bio. Maybe let's do one more line between name bio. So inside of generate family members, let's do 2 new lines like that. Yeah, look at that. Name, bio, name, bio. And then here are the story elements the family wants worked into the story for tonight. And we're not going to do anything with a current challenge. So let's go. Let's do this then. Await this dot generate all with story with all members. And then we'll go this dot OpenAI dot assert. See, we have first completion message. Let's do second role. And then what did we call the role? System and content is expected. Let's do that to start. That's going to get mad because that method doesn't exist. So let's create it, declare method. Let's put it right here. So why is this not working? An array of chat completion message params. Well, let's see. Okay, let's do the same thing here. Cool. And then let's go assert dot is equal deep. This dot create options dot messages dot one. equals expected did not pass the expected second message to the completion. Dot. Put a period in there for some reason, so let's just do it there. Be consistent. Yeah, sure enough. I mean, it's gonna say cannot find a second message. It's undefined. So let's go into here. Okay. So second message, role equals system, content equals, and let's see. Yeah, that makes sense. So now we got to recreate this message we just typed out. Okay. So let's go let message equals family name. Well, now we got to get the family name. How do we get the family name? From the, we need the family store. Const families equals await. So I'm in the builder method again, getting the store. I'm going to pass the family store to the constructor. I'm going to do family store. I'm going to destructure from options. I'm going to store it as a local property. I'm going to declare that local property. This is all well and good. Now let's do this. Const family equals await this dot families dot find one. And we can already see a problem here is that it's just going to find the first families. We got to write another test. Around a valid family ID. Okay, let's drop this into message. Okay, next is values. But before we do that, no, let's just keep going. Then we'll write the test to make sure it's actually loading the right family. So then I'm going to go here. So it looks like it's family name colon new line, the name. Wait, no, right here. Family name colon new line, family name colon new line, new line. And then it looks like family values, new line, family values. Sweet. Then it's new line, family members. New line, family members. Is that capital members? Yep. And then new line, which is already there. Now it looks like we're going to do something like this. Plus equals name match dot name. And then we don't need that question mark, right? Oh, interesting. Can we do this? We figure out how to make this assert that match is good and have an idea there. Okay, name. Now we need it. New line. Bio. Okay. I don't think that's right because we want to double new line after this. I guess we could trim it. Just be like that. And now it's the story elements part. Here are the story elements the family once worked into the story for tonight. So let's do that. Oh, it is new line there too. Cool. All right, here we go. It's double new line after the last one also. Message plus equals. Here are the story elements the family wants worked into the story for tonight. Well, and if you see, we're only doing the first one, so I'm only going to get the first one in. New line, new line. 2 new lines there. Let's see, am I destructuring out story elements up here? Yeah, story elements 0 is the one we're going to start with. And then there's a new line at the end. All right, what are we missing here? Let's take a careful look. Family name, new line, 6 times CC, new line, family members, or family name, family values. Let's see, family name. So family name, family values, which is N67 2D. Let's see, family name, family values, N67 2D. Then 2 new lines, and family members. Then 1 new line, and then name ends in 20, bio ends in 21, name ends in 22, bio ends in 23, 2 new lines. So at the end, it's new line. Here are the story elements the family wants worked into the story for tonight, colon, new line. Oh, that's wrong. That's wrong. Look at this. Here, we want to pass the story element. We want to pass the story element through here. Look at this. There it is. Wait, what? Oh, I gotta make that partial. So we're gonna be able to override what is passed there, but it still didn't work. Why did it still not work? Let's take a look. Okay. Looks pretty close. Family, maybe is there another way? Is there another diff? Let's find something that like allows us to diff here. We go online diff. Okay, original text. Let's do the original text. Let's just do left to right from this to here. Go away. Go away. Paste. Then let's go here to... Whoops. Let's go from here to here. Remember, just selecting it. All right, that looks like a problem. And that looks like it's story elements. Let's see. Find difference. Oh. That looks the same to me. Oh, it's got a quote in it. Let me get rid of the quote. How do we go back? Oh, really? That's not awesome. If I just copy both of these things. Oh my gosh, this thing is tough to scroll in. Let's do one down. There it is. Here to here. Oh, so paste. This now is where we want to be. Okay. All right, why is this different? A space before the new line on family names. So let's start there. We do not want a space. Family name before the answer to family name. Does it mean there's a... So this is what was sent. This is what we expect. So I think that means I've got a space up here I don't want. Let's look. Is that going to help? Just make sure there are no additional new lines. So if I go to here, and the family name is right under. Okay. And then the last piece is tonight. There appears to be a new line. Here are the story elements the family wants to put in tonight. Appears to have the other. Maybe it's because of this. There. Oh, there. Look at that. There was a big tab in there. Maybe I trim these. There it is. Might make sense to trim these so we're not so worried about white space. Okay, now we need a version of this that handles multiple story elements. So let's do that. And then we need one that handles current challenge. And then we need one that handles a bad family ID. So maybe let's start with a bad family ID, since that's like that's hitting. I mean, that's a thing that should be blowing up right now. So let's go to generate method throws with missing story elements from member IDs, family ID. Okay. So if we go to generate in the story generator, there is a family ID. That's going to get mad at us in some places. Okay. I kind of think with these now we can look at I think we can do something like this. We can do. Okay, looks like we're missing a curly. Whoops. Cheapers. Okay. Generate story. I think we need to do this const family ID equals this dot, or something like this. This dot family dot ID. Okay, that should bring us back to where we were. Generate method throws with missing. Expected story elements. And what I have a feeling is happening. Yeah, family members send me ID. So we should be able to go to Command Shift O. Go to generate story. And we need to make sure that family ID is in there also. So now we need to make sure a bad family ID, so it's going to look like this, throws it past bad family member ID. Let's do it before that. Throws it past bad family ID. Family ID. Let's go generate story. If not family, throw is that throw invalid family members ID, but we're going to do this. Do this. That. And then I think in this we're going to go right here. Family ID. That. Throws it past family, bad family member ID. So we want to do this before checking family members. That's the way I've got it written. Maybe not. Generate story throws if no family member selected. And it looks like expected family member IDs, but found, and I bet it's family member. In this test up here, I am not passing a good family member ID, so let's do that. Okay, I think there's some more refactoring that can be done here. Let's get this dot member dot ID. Do not want that to fail for that reason. All right. Generate stories if no family member is selected. So we go down. Okay. But found family ID again, right? So why? This is member selected. Throws it past bad family ID. Generate. Look at that. Throws if no family member selected. So we did no family member. If I go dot only. Okay. Expected family member IDs got family member. But if I go into here, this dot member dot family dot ID. There we go. Perfect. I expect this to now work. Right on. Okay. All right, next up is let's make it handle multiple story elements. To do that, I think we should extract this piece out a little bit. Something like this. Generate. Wait, let's put members in there also, right? Because it's going to do all members. Generate second message. No. Let's do this. Generate second message. So Now let's do it with 2 of these. Let's get rid of that log. I don't need that anymore. Test. Directed. Static async. Generates second message with multiple elements. Const story elements. Let's do 2 of them. Generate ID, const expected equals this dot generate second message story element. Whoops. Story elements. Then let's go await this dot generate story with all members, passing it story element. Whoops. Story elements. Then let's do this. Assert second message equals. Perfect. Let's move that to the bottom. I'm just gonna copy that down and go like that. Which should not equal, because there are now 2 story elements. See that? Comma separated. Okay, let's do that. Here. Dot join, comma separated. Perfect. So now let's do it if a current challenge is passed. Let's make it so it is appended to the message. So let's do this. Test async generate second message with current challenge. Const, we need story elements. Just one of them. We need const current challenge. Then we go const expected equals this dot generate second message. Story elements current challenge. So let's go ahead and make current challenge part of this. Current challenge optional string, and then let's do this. Let's change this to a let, and we'll go if current challenge, we'll go message, or no, expected plus equals new line. Here is a current challenge they are facing that they would like incorporated into tonight's story, new line, and then it is current challenge. There. Well, that's gonna fail. Oh wait, no, it's not, because we haven't done the assertion yet. Await this dot generate story with all members, story elements, current challenge. This dot assert second message equals expected. There. Yes. That's a little bit difficult to tell where the diff is, but we know where it is because we just wrote the test to fail. So, members, bio, here are the story elements, and let's do this. Let's destructure current challenge out of here. Let's go. If current challenge message plus equals new line. Did we do 2 new lines for current challenge? Let's scroll down and look. Yes, new line. And we say here is the, I'm just reading this message over here to the right. Here is a current challenge they are facing that they would like incorporated into tonight's story, new line, current challenge. Let's see. did it. That did it. Okay. Next up is taking the response and making sure that our story generator returns the response from ChatGPT. All right. So how do we test that the story generator is returning the response from ChatGPT? Well, I don't remember exactly, so we're just going to start. We're going to code it how we wished it worked, and then I think as an outcome, we're going to figure this out. So let's go test, protected static async, story generator returns response from ChatGPT. Okay, so let's start by await this dot generate story. Cool. Oh, it needs options. What options does it need? Wonder if the story generate with all members. I wonder if that's better. Generate story with all members. And then I think everything else must be optional. Do we even have to pass anything? Yeah, there we go. What you don't see when we're recording this is sometimes there's a lot of time between these sections. So I'd forgotten how that worked. So now that we're generating a story, let's do this. Let's go this dot ChatGPT response text equals generate ID. And then, see, I want to take this. I want to go const actual. And then I want to go assert.is equal actual. And the expected is this dot ChatGPT response text. But there's a lot in between here. Let's say that. So these two things don't equal. Let's go start fixing type errors. So I'm going to click here, command period, declare static property. I'm going to command click. I'm going to go private ChatGPT response text. And do you know what? Maybe what I'm going to do is actually in the before each, I'm going to generate this every test. So it's always returning something. So let's go this dot ChatGPT response text equals generate ID. So what that means, if I click on this and go Command D, there's no more need to do that. Okay, now we've got a type issue. String is not assignable to parameter void. That makes sense because when I command clicked on this, I saw we were not returning anything. Then let's command click on this, and there we are. So now what are we going to see? Undefined. So let's go to generate story. Let's go to generate all the way in. What are we returning from here? Let's look. Nothing. Let's go to this. Return response here. Great. Now I understand where all this stuff is connected. So we're going to go const response. And I don't know the shape of this. It's a openai.chat.completion.chat completion with a request AI thrown in there. So let's do this. Return response dot, I believe it's choices 0 dot message. Okay. So I expect this is going to throw something gnarly. Look at that. Cannot read properties of undefined 0. Now we followed the API, the signature for the response to create, but we're getting called undefined on 0. So choices does not exist on this. I can explain that. I think I can. I think if we go to the before each, we have a mock OpenAI. Do you see? So we're not even constructing an actual OpenAI. We're creating a mock. So if I command click on that, look at this. What's this say? Oh boy. It's so messy, right? There's so much. And you'd think like, oh, just typing it like this would be enough, but it never is. So We go to our mock OpenAI class. This we need to return. So let me hit quote. Choices. That's an array. Quote. We need a final reason. Content filter length. Stop. We don't care. We need an index, which I'm assuming is a number. We need a log probs. We really need this. And we need a message. And we're going to return this dot. Oh, how do we get the message? How do we get the message that we want from our test into here? So let's just do this. Let's do generate ID. Oh man, that's mad at us. It's probably missing a bunch of other properties. But look, now we're failing in a much more useful way because we know that this generate ID in our mock OpenAI is different than the generate ID we're using in our tests before each called ChatGPT response text. Now that I'm seeing the API, they call it message. Let's do this response message. So we've got to find a way to get this to connect. But let's fix these type errors. Let's see. What is missing? ID, created, model, and object. Cool name for a property called object. What is, I get an ID. Let's just randomly generate it. I get a created. I'm assuming that's a number. I'm just going to do a date.now. I get a model, which I guess I'll do 40. I don't know. I don't get object. I guess like that. Like, what is object? Oh, object is a string. Obviously, you guys, how did you not know this? All right, what's going on? String is not definable to log props. So let's command click on log props. Where's log props? Where the heck is log props? So if we go created is a number. Model is a string. Object is a chat completion. Oh, down here. Log props is what? Null. We're just making it null. I don't even want to go figure out what that type is. Null. Okay, now what are you mad about? It's not convertible to type. Let's see. Choices are incompatible. It's not compatible with choice. Index number, long props null, message string. Well, that does. I bet it's this. Watch this. As const. Nope. Choices are incompatible. Object of message. String is not comparable to chat completion message. Oh boy, it's not a string. It's a chat completion message, which is what? Oh boy, another layer deep. So that's an object too. Don't ever say ChatGPT didn't give you any information. Oops, I closed too many. So let's go back to this. So message is not a string. Message is content. Content here. So these don't align. ChatGPT creations. Chat completions. These don't seem to match up, do they? Role assistant, I guess. Refusal. I don't know what this is. Null. Yeah, do you see that? Down here in our story completion, where is it? Here, it thinks it's response choices message. Content. I was doing that wrong. Bam, content here. All right, we're getting there. Why is this mad? Oh, because it's a promise chat completion is missing the following properties from API promise. And 3 more. You know what? I don't even care. There's just too many things to implement here that are not relevant to our use case. you're very much going to find is common when you're starting to try to test third-party libraries. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to get message content to match ChatGPT response message. So how do we do that? Well, what I think I'm going to do is something like this. I'm going to go this dot message content, and then I'm going to go private get message content return, and I'm going to use a static variable on this. So we're going to go here. Actually, yeah, here dot message message content, and then we're going to declare this and go public static message content is a string, and then we'll go up here and I'm going to change this to a getter, which this declare method. Now it wants it to be a property because let's do this. Go down to the bottom of my test, and I'm going to overridden getter and setter private static set chat GPT response message. Message is a string, and that's going to go mock the OpenAI adapter message content equals message, and I'm going to do a private static get chat GPT response message, and it's going to go return mock OpenAI dot message content. Okay. So now we're routing everything through. Oh, look at that. We're routing everything through the mock OpenAI class, which has just got a static property called message content. We can just do this. Maybe we rename that completion message, because that's what we're doing. It's called a completion. Excuse me. Chat GPT response. There we go. So now our class is returning that one. And what's interesting is we actually coded the production code faster than we were able to successfully implement the test code, because their class is really complicated. Like if they'd had an interface and had in that interface just some of the required bits, and we could have built out a whole mock. Instead, we're in this situation where we're actually extending their class and building our mock behavior or assertions around it. I don't love it, but what's cool is if ChatGPT changes their implementation, this OpenAI, we don't have to go update our test. We update the mock. Then the test should work. So this is going to future-proof us in a really good way. All right. Next up, do we have a generate listener? Generate story listener? We do. It calls story generator.generate. Oh my gosh. We can't be ready to test, can we? So if we go here, if we go story generator.impl, oh, cool. All right. So we implemented, and this is my bad, story generator. We stubbed it out. But then instead of story generator test, instead of using that one, which I meant to do, I did a whole new one. Next up, we're going to combine the story generator we wrote here with the story generator from generate story listener. And if we do it right, we shouldn't really break anything along the way. All right. Okay, before we get into this full tilt, let's go look at and assess the situation. So we have our story generator here. We have our story generator in our listener. And if I command click on this, we've got an interface, and then we've got a story generator impulse. So what I want to do, really what I want to do is like copy this, paste it in here. Think I can do it without breaking a test? Okay, so look at this. See how do we have a static class reference here? This is how we're overriding which class gets instantiated with generator. So let's go back to here. No. Yeah. Here we go. There, all right. So we got that over, so that'll let us override it. Let's rename this story whoops. No. Let's rename this story generator impulse so all of our references stay. Here we have public static generator, which requires stores and OpenAI keys. So that's going to blow up in here. Maybe. Because we need stores and an OpenAI key. And then inside of stories, do we have anything that... Okay. So we can start by... I'm going to copy this. I'm going to cut it. Here's story generator options. Let's see how that compares to this story. Okay. All we have here are... Oh, and here's our story generator options. Story elements, family member, current challenge. What do we have here? Story elements, family member IDs, which we don't line up there. Current challenge and family ID. So this does not expect a family ID here because that's well, we need that, right? Generate story, emit payload, has story elements. Is there a target? Maybe we're targeting a family. Let's go. Generate story, target, emit, target, generate. Whoops. We have no target. Okay, so here's where we're differing. When we wrote our tests, it turns out we actually need a family ID pass to even know how to load the family members. I'm assuming that if we go in here, this is where we're loading the family members. Do you know what we could do to refactor this? Is we could turn this instead of a find one. Oh, but we're actually looking at a throw an invalid. But we just... Do you know what we could do? We could refactor this to do find them all. If the count mismatches, then throw this. We're still not doing something helpful by showing which family member ID is invalid, which would be maybe helpful, but I don't... That will only happen if you're using the API outside of the bounds of the UI or the signatures. Okay, so one thing at a time. We'll optimize later. Let's merge or overwrite this class declaration. So let's go here. And down to here. I'm not going to take the generate story options. Cut. Story generator. Gotta keep the story generating. Let's go here. Bam. Simple store factory's got to be imported. Schema error has to be imported. And then this, we have to go export default class story generator implements story generator. This, we don't want to that. So the class that we're using to overwrite, we do not want it to be the impl. So why is this mad? Incorrectly, we called it generate story. We're going to call this generate. This is definitely going to break some things in tests. I don't think I can do this without breaking a test. So we go here, add all missing, dump. OpenAI. Let's look up here. See how did I import OpenAI? There it was. Here. Gotta keep the story generating. Oh, now we are going to break some things. Here we go. It looks like we fixed up all the issues in here. Generate is missing family ID. That's going to get mad at us in another part of the test. So we have not saved this test yet. Okay. So, oh, yep, there we go. Generate story listener is broken. We go here, import, save. This is now called generate. See, by extracting that out, I kind of think this is going to work. Look at that. So now the listener's not going to work for sure. So let's cut out these things we're no longer using. That was cool. It's like Indiana Jones, like switching the bag of sand for the artifact. So that was great. So now the listener is going to fail. Listener should fail, in fact. Why? Story generator listener. Let's see. That's not an awesome error. Why is it doing that? So let's go to generate story listener dot. Well, let's look at our errors. Command KP. Well, that would be a problem. Command KP. Why is this mad? Generation is not. This type was not found. Generate story options. What did we call it here? Story generator generate options. So a little more robust in our naming. So I'm going to paste that there. This is now family members. Okay, now we're going to break some stuff. All right, why is this mad at us? What's it supposed to be returning? Promise and a string. It does that. What is this? Content. Oh, I'm going to bang that. I've never seen that not respond with a. So if we go into here, family members, story elements, current challenge. Let's go back. Let's get rid of this. We're no longer going to use this. And we're going to bring in this one. Story element. That's bam. Great. See, now it's going to say family ID doesn't exist. Family ID. And it doesn't. Because. Let's call this family members. I expect the story generator to pass still. Family ID. Actually, it won't pass. Because if we go to here. We drop that in. This type in. So drop in the types in. Family member IDs. I went and Command D to select them all, and now it's family members. Okay, there's going to be type issues, but this should pass. Family member IDs is not defined. Oh, let me paste in this options that we changed here. Family ID says, all right, story generator line 63. It says family members. Okay, so now we got to figure out this family ID thing. So those, I still would. Oh. Our expected failed right here. So it's story expected. Let's see. Expected family members, but found family member IDs. All right, so that's here. Let's see. Family. Oh, right here. Oops. Family member IDs. Let me Command D and select these family members. All right. Now the story generation test should pass, but the listener is still going to fail. And we're going to have a ton of type issues because that listener does not accept a family ID. So there it goes. So let's go. Generate story listener. And let's update the event signature, because if we go to generate story.listener, generate.listener, that's missing something. This is missing something. So what's this missing? This is missing whatever options it was. Let's just drop some options in. OpenAI key. Let's get gibberish. It wants stores. So let's pull stores, the data stores out of the event. That's the store factory. Okay. So we got past that element. Now we're going to have to deal with the fact that this payload does, there we go. Look at that. Generate story listener. Now it's saying that did fail to generate must be listed locally, but we never wanted it to fall into this, right? We did not want it to get here. We did want it to report back the error. So the error is going to be that we did not pass it a family ID. So let's go to our event. Let's add family ID. So let's have a target payload discussion. So target and payload in an event is really a convention. And it's a way of thinking. So when you're in a multi-tenant environment and you want an event to target a location, it's really clear. In this case, I'm going to make the case why family should be a target, part of the target. And so if I went into where are family? No, stories. There's something about stories. Stories, events, generate, target, and payload. So I'm going to make the case real quick. Generate target builder. I'm going to make the case that family ID should be a target, part of the target of the event. And then I'll make the case why it shouldn't. And then we'll decide. Mostly, if you think about it, because a target is the object upon which, or the scope in which the event is emitted. So a really clear one, again, is if we're in a multi-tenant environment and you only want an event to emit to a location. Another example is like if we're controlling IoT and you want to target a button. So you want to say we have an event called on or event called off, and you want to emit the on event and you want to target the button. Now in the listener, you have to implement this. That's kind of the point of a convention, is like, this is not something that's very strictly enforced. But what I would say is we're targeting a family because we want this event scoped to this family, and then story elements, family member IDs, current challenges are the data with the event that are used to generate the story, but we want the story targeting just our family. The case for it not being the target, but being in the payload, is that we're not doing this thing to a family, but for a family. And so we don't need a target. We just need all the information about the story in the payload. I don't know if I made a good case for either one there. I'm going to add family ID to the target. So when you're looking at the event signature, it's going to say emit generate story, target the family. That's where the story is scoped. And in the payload, here's all the information you need to actually generate, all the details you need to generate the story. So if I go here, I go person ID, string, string, literal string, type, ID, no, silly me, person ID, type ID is required true. I'm going to hit control space. I'm going to go sync.events. And let me say that again with target. So target is the thing that is upon which the event is emitted, like a button, or how the event is scoped, like a location, or in this case, a family. So this is telling me, when I look at this event signature, what it's telling me is that when we emit generate story and I see in, not person ID, geez, family ID. So what this is telling me is when we're generating a story, the fact that we're targeting a family ID means everything is happening scoped to this family. So this convention helps me look at the event signature and understand stories are always generated scoped to a family. And I can know that and not have to go look at the rest of the event signature. But now look at this. The emit payload you pass to generate stories invalid. Target is required. So let's go into this test. And here it is. Look at this. Let's add a target. Whoops. Let's add a target. And then I should be able to single quote and get the autocomplete family ID. And let's do this. Let's go this dot family ID. That doesn't exist, so let's go create it. Command period, declare property. I'm going to command click to jump to it. I'm going to go private static family, family ID. Let's randomly generate it. Just family ID equals generate ID. So we're partially the way there. Now we're going to get that back to that original error, which is what's going on? Are we not watching Billy anymore? What? family ID equals this dot family ID. Huh. It looks like the watcher's not built. I'm just going to reload this window. And I expect generate story listener to fail. I mean, it's not even trying. Look at that. Emit generate story. Why is that mad? I mean, it's not even trying. It's just going, let's go fix some of these type errors then. No overlay dimensions. Call. That doesn't make any sense to me. Object letter specified. Oh, didn't we know sync.events? That should have. Oh. Watch this. Story generator. Do you see how we're doing? Okay. Generating our event failed. That's why we're getting so many problems. So let's just see if this finishes or if we get an error. There. Okay, so now if I command click on this is not everything though. We need to add the target. So I could go and spruce schemas dot 8-bit stories dot the version that we're on dot generate story target. Now I'm not a big fan of this exactly, because what if we want to change up how we target something? Then it will just automatically be added here. That's fine for now. Okay. Generate story listener, generate story target is required. So why is it still saying that? Let's jump in. Target is set. So what's happening up here? Payload. Okay, look at this. Person family ID equals this dot family ID. And now what it's saying when we emit the event is the options passed to generate should match. So let's keep going fixing these errors. And flatten response. Okay, that makes sense. Generate skill view controller is not passing the family IDs. Let's go target. Family ID equals gibberish. I'm not going to make that work. We're going to have to go into our generate skill view test and actually write the test to make sure it's passing the family ID, which I'm imagining is in here somewhere. We'll find it. So we'll go here. What do you mean generate was not found? So it thinks it's returning the impl because we have not, look at this dot class or fallback. That should fix that. So if we go to here, this is now an await. You see what it says? It says the await. And then payload is saying missing family ID. So let's get the target. Let's destructure const family ID out of target. So admittedly, this would have been a lot easier if I had implemented it in the right place to start instead of separately. Person, right? Family ID. There we go. We're still getting some type errors. So if we jump here and save, story generator is missing the following properties from impl. That's fine because we're in the story generator test. Let's see. Do we even need this to be the impl? Can this just be the generic type interface? It can. Sometimes when we're doing some sort of implementation checks, we want to actually type it as the impl, but in this case, we're not calling anything outside the public interface, which is going to make it a lot better to test and work with in the future. All right, we got two issues here that don't seem to make much sense to me yet, and that is these guys. So we go to terminal, and let's go reload again. I'm not quite sure why we're seeing these. Build is not building. So what is this? Look at this. Story generator line 103. I'm going to command click on that. There's nothing there, guys. So property target is missing, but I dropped in. I've gone and dropped all these in. And for some reason, story generator generate story.listener still thinks there's things in here that aren't. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill this, and I guess I'm going to update OhmyZish just to get that done. And I'm going to go yarn rebuild. This is going to clear out node modules. This is going to clear out build. And my expectation, right, yarn/node/TypeScript, is that we're going to be beyond this issue we've just seen. So let's see. All right, now we're back. I ended up running a spruce upgrade on the skill, just get the latest dependencies, clear everything out. Looks like we got one more error here, which is that family ID is being passed. Let's see, family. Oh, I see. Look, emit generate story. Negative. We cannot do that because it's passing it here. See, depending on the payload. So let's do this. Let's omit person ID from this. So why is this mad? Family ID is, I went omit, bruh. Omit person ID. And then I'm going to go to assert options pass, and I'm going to go family ID equals this dot family ID. Close. Okay. Not person ID, family ID. I keep doing that. Okay, emit generate story. This is not right anymore. Let's make that spruce schemas dot 8-bit stories dot v dot generate story payload. Now we've used this fully qualified name a lot here. We've used it here. We've used it here. So let's go into our 8-bit types. Let me do this. Export type generate story payload equals, and then I'm going to go anywhere where I'm referencing this whole thing and going to just reference the shortened version of this because this is too much. Cool. Okay. The next thing we have to do, which we should be passing now, I believe. Yeah. Next thing we have to do is we have to go into the generate skill view test and make sure we're actually passing the right ID. So let's just go do that real quick. Generate.skill view test. Somewhere in here, we are testing the target and payload. So redirects, alert. Here, look. Fake generate story. Now I have a feeling there's no payload as part of this. Target and payload. Right on. So let's do this. Let's go let past payload equals no. Past target equals generate story target and payload. Target or undefined. Then let's go past target equals target. Well, that's going to be mad because we don't have a target here. And then let's go assert.is equal deep past target family ID. Now, where do we, somewhere in here, actually manage a family ID? What's our load method look like? So if we go into load, what are we doing here? Load this.vc.load. So if we go generate SVC, how are we getting the family ID? We don't have it anywhere in here because you can. Okay, so we have two options. Cool, this is fun. Either we have to create a new event called get family, which we already have, and then we pass the family ID, or we can just go on the assumption that everyone has one family, remove the family ID from the target, and just load it in the listener. Oh my gosh, let's do that. Let's remove family ID from the event we just did. And let's load the family using the data stores in the actual listener. Let me think about this. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we're going to go generate target builder. We're going to get rid of this. Sync.events again. We're going to get a bunch of errors on this one. We're going to go fix them. But then our listener test is going to fail. That also means we have to go to generate.svc or story generator. And we can no longer depend on the target. We have to add in, not person ID, family ID, string. Or do we? What if inside of our story generator, inside of generate, we could change this to person ID, who's the person who emitted it. We got lots of options. There's not really a wrong one, but for now, let's go fix these tests. Let's go open, Command KP. There's no longer a target here. Generate story. Let's go Command KP. Got that. Command KP. Cut this. Cut this. Cut this. Cut these. Command KP. This is no longer there. It's funny. We added a bunch and then remember. I mean, this just happens a lot. So let's do this. Family ID here. Now this is gibberish. So now we don't need to gibberish. Passes payload to generate. So watch this now. Let's go to here. So you have this.family ID. That's not going to work anymore. Now what we need to do is we need to go seed a family, one of them, and then we'll go const family equals await this dot families dot find one. No query. And then this ID is family dot ID. Or do we have a get first family? There we go. Okay. So we're going to be able to fake this. Watch. So we're going to go to our generate story where we have stores. And I'm going to go const family equals store or families equals stores dot get store families const family equals await families dot find one. Oops, let's put the await here, shall we? We don't need that. And then we're going to go family.id. Oh, I'm going to bang this. Or am I not? Oh, await. Space. There we go. This should make our test pass, but you're going to see there's a bug in here. We want to make sure it loads the family based off the logged in person. So watch this. We're going to go story generator listener. And then we're going to create a new test. And it's going to go test. Protected static async. Uses proper. Let me get this down a little bit. Family. So we're going to seed a second family. So now one person is two families. This is not actually ever a thing that can happen, but we're going to seed two of them. And then what I'm going to do is go, one or more families already have the source person you require. Okay, there we go. Well, I answered that. Let's do this. Await this dot families dot create one. Or if I go to my families dot store, can I should set fake person as source? We're going to set that to false. So let's go back. So let's go back to family.store. We're going to go to the seed method, which is right here. Do you see the second thing in these custom options? We have should set fake person. So person ID, if we should set the fake person, sets it to the faked person off the test class. Otherwise, it generates a random one. So what I think is going to happen is we go should set fake person false. Oh, no, 1, false. Then we go await this dot emit generate story. And then I just want to make sure that the options passed to generate So there's our mock story generator. Assert options passed to generate. So what's inside of emit? So I'm going to write another assertion here. I'm going to say this. This dot mock generator dot assert person ID passed to generate equals this dot faked person dot ID. That does not exist. I'm going to command period. Going to go declare method. And then I'm going to go down here. So you have assert options passed to generate. I'm going to rename that equal. And then I'm going to go public. Called it's family, not person. Gosh, I wish someone, you guys watching this, probably yelling, no, not person. I'm going to go assert dot is equal. This dot generate options dot person dot family ID equals family ID. The family ID passed to generate does not match. So do you think this is going to fail? There's a chance it won't, and I'll explain why. Oh, look. The family ID passed to generate does not match. So if we scroll up, it's pulling the second family we seeded. So it's the newest family. So let's go to generate.listener and let's filter it by source.person ID right here. Paste. Well, that didn't work either. All right, let's go look at why. So if I go here, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete that because that didn't work. I don't want to leave that in there and have the test. The test was not failing for the reason I expected. I'm not going to leave that production code change. It didn't fix the test. I'm deleting it. So let's scroll up to the top here and we'll say, oh, I did the person thing again, you guys. I know you're watching this yelling at me. It's not it's the family ID. And now I kind of expect this to pass because I think both of these is going to, yeah. See, they both are pulling from the same, both these queries are pulling from the same, both of them are returning the first record. And so what that means is, of course, this is going to pass because this is now the second record. So I have a few ways I can deal with this. Is one, we can remove this from the before each and only seed it where we need it. Or we can write the code to seed a family manually, update an ID. So let's try this. Let's remove it from here. Whoops. That means that this won't work anymore because there's no family now. So I'm going to cut all that and let's look. So this is going to fail. They all failed. So if we go to skill is listening, they're failing because there's no family at all. And okay, so let's bring that back. That's too much. And let's go into our code here and let's delete this because this is the second family. It's never going to pull this one. So let's do this. Let's go await this dot families dot update one. We're going to not pass a query. We could, oh, we can't update the source, you guys. We have to delete it. And now we have to seed two. So I'm going to delete all the families, and then we're going to create two families. We're going to go await this dot families dot create one. The name is generate ID. The source will be not us, generate ID. And then there's a third property in there, values. Generate this family values. That's a little bit confusing. So now, still gonna work, right? Family IDs pass is not equal. because this is no longer a valid family ID. So now we're going to do this. Const second family equals await this dot families dot create one. Name is generate ID. Values is generate ID, and source is this dot faked person dot ID. And we're going to do this. Second family dot ID. There we go. So now they don't match. So just to recap what we did, inside of here, this find one is always returning the first family. So what we needed to do was we actually needed the second family to be the one. So I deleted all families, created a family, then created a second family with the right person. So now we need to load the second family. But we, in some cases, we need to load the first family. In this one, we need to load the second family. Now, what we can't do is be like skip 0, skip. There's no way to fake this anymore. Now we have to go source.personID equals person ID. We did it. But you'll notice we still have something going on here. Do you see what I see? Okay. Next step, we're actually going to remove this, the construction of the story generator out of this listener, and we're going to put it in the skills context. So we don't have to construct a new one every time we emit this event. We just want to reuse this one. So operation make story generator impl available in the context, and let's reuse it in our events. Well, in this case, just one event. All right, my dudes. So there's this concept in a skill called context, and context, when it comes to a skill, refers to all the properties available in an event. So if we go to didBoot, we're checking that feedback phone is set. But what we're going to do is we're going to move this story generator, and we're not going to test this. This is just a refactor, which reminds me, we got to go improve the implementation of the generator so it's not loading one family member at a time, but all of them for a family. So let's start here. Let's take this story generator out of here. Let's drop it into the event here. Then let's go to didBoot. I'm going to remove this underscore, and I'm going to go event dot. I'm going to destructure the skill out of the event. And then I'm going to go skill dot update context. The generator is now, oh, let's put this here. Generator. Now, whoopsies, comma. So, oh, nope. Do you see stores is missing and that import is missing? Gotta finish the implementation, bruh. Let's destructure stores out. So when a skill boots, it has all these features here. So I'm gonna go dot spruce. It's got features, errors, events, permissions, schemas, stores. These plugins inject things into the skills context. So that's why you can destructure stores out of here, because the store plugin loads the data stores, puts them in the skills context, makes them available in all your events. The skill itself really does nothing out of the box. It's the addition of these features. So watch this. So I clicked on store plugin. It's pulling from the Spruce store plugin. Any of the Spruce modules that start with the word Spruce means they're tightly coupled to the platform. So I'm going to command click on there. This is the type. I don't want the type. Let me go to the implementation, which is transpile JavaScript. And look at this. In execute, it loads the stores, throws if there's an error, otherwise sets store factory, stores, and database to the skills context. So what we should be able to see is if we go store factory, stores, or database, we can actually destructure. So DB, database, store now it's called stores. Store factory. I need to rename that. It's deprecated. We're trying to change it to the word stores plural. In case we decide we want to use a store builder or a store strategy or something. So we're close. Let's import this. Now I expect this to pass, but the types to fail. The types are failing. There we go. Why are there 9 errors though? I would not expect that. Let me do Command Option S to save. Now there are 7 errors. Command K, P. Okay, we'll fix this type. Oh, look at that. Story generator listener. So let's go to generate story listener. Oh, look, generator. Now look, we're not even importing the generator from our listener. So the reason why this is cool. All right, why are we not there yet? Let's look. Skill is listening. We should be booting the skill every time. Yeah, so. Oh, we need to set the mock before we boot. Let's make the boot the last thing we do here. So when the skill's booted, the did boot fires, it adds all that stuff. There we go. So we're close. Look at this. Did fail to generate. Emits did fail to generate on fail. So let's go. That should not have failed. Nothing here should have failed. So what did I do wrong? Did fail to generate is not passing the target. So why is that? Oh. Do you see here the story generator? All right, this is interesting. So what happened was we've already booted the skill at this point, which has already created the story generator. So overriding this class doesn't do anything for us. So what I'm going to do is we're going to abandon this idea of throwing generator. I'm going to go into the one that we set up here. Somewhere mock story generator. And I'm going to say, and I'm going to steal the concept from this. So I'm going to go create an error message. But I'm going to make it optional. And then I'm going to go to generate. I'm going to say if mock story generator dot error message throw new error dot error message. Okay, now let's see. So I can delete this and I can go mock story generator dot error message equals generate ID. And then I can change this here and we should be back in business. So it's a little bit of mixing concerns, right? Oh. We need to do this. In the before each, we need to go delete because that's static. It's just going to stay there. We want to clear the error message every test. Okay, we still have 2 errors, but let me talk through this concept a little bit. So this mock story generator, a mock in our case, has the assertions built in, the pass fail conditions built in. We're kind of mixing concerns a little bit here, right? Because the story generator, the mock story generator now has the assertions and also it fakes throwing. So what I'm just going to leave it for now. I'm not too worried about it. Someone who's more picky than me might want to rename this like mock and throwing store generator so you can know its role, but I'm okay leaving it. At this point, I just want to go fix these type issues. So I'm going to hit Command K, P. All right. There is nothing in the skill. So watch this. So if we delete this and hit quote, these are the things that are set are typed for the context. But I want it to accept generator. I don't want this to throw a type error. And I bet if we go to generate story.listener, it's saying this. Generator does not exist on the Spruce event, skill event contract. This is this context. It just doesn't exist. So we want to type it so it does. So we're going to use declaration merging for this. I really love this feature. So see skill context. Skill context is inside of @Spruce Labs, Spruce Skill Utils, build types. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to split the pane. I'm going to hide the tests. I'm going to go to 8.types. I'm going to go declare @Spruce Labs, and then follow this path. Spruce, skill, utils / build / types, declare module, right? Or is it just module? Oh my god, I can't remember. That's so funny. What's this saying? Only ambient modules can put it names. Isn't it declare module? I forgot how to do declaration merging. No, what's this say? Cannot be found. Oh, it's types / skill.types. Do you see? And you don't do the file extension. Now, watch this. Now we can go interface, skill, context, and anything we put in here is going to merge with the type that's available. So we're going to go generator, and we're going to go story generator, not the impl, but the type. And the types are fixed. Oh, yeah, let's look at the test. I was like waiting for just to see something. So now if I delete this and I go quote, there's generator. So this is where declaration merging in a modular system like the Spruce platform is so powerful. I like it. And it's also how, when we go to these features, events, permissions, schemas, stores, views, all these things use type declaration merging to allow you to use the typing. And this is just one example of the skills context. So we don't have to create one giant types file. Each module or each plugin can have its own typing that it merges in. All right, well, we got one more thing to do. OpenAI key. That doesn't seem right, does it? We need to make sure that it's pulling from process env something like OpenAI key. And while I'm thinking about it, we probably want this to throw if no OpenAI key is set. Because just like this, it's like we need to set OpenAI key to your skills env to boot. You have to set OpenAI key. So same thing. Let's check that it exists and let's implement it. Okay, so the question is, where do we put this test? And I think we put it in behavior, stories, families, stories. I think we do it in here. Because we have the feedback. Let's put it in here. And the question is, should we create another test or we just use the story generator test and that thing fully encapsulates all this generation functionality? I'm going to create a new test. Let's go create.test behavioral. I'm going to say configuring story generator on boot. I'm going to put it in the stories directory. I'm going to extend abstract 8-bit test. This is going to create our first failing test for us, but not a great one. And so we're going to go test reporter. I'm going to open this. I'm going to say throws if missing OpenAI key in env. So I'm going to go const equals await assert does throw async this boot skill, and then I'm going to go error assert error, and I believe if I go into did boot, we're throwing a missing parameters error. So we're going to go missing parameters, and then I want to follow the convention however we did it before. Parameters env.openai key. So let's do this. Parameters env.openai key, like that, right? This is going to throw. Well, it's going to throw that it didn't throw. So let's go to did boot. Let's go if not process.env.openai key. Throw new schema error. So we're just going to reuse the schema error, missing parameters. Parameters env.openai key. Whoops. And let's go friendly message. I'm going to just copy this word for word almost. Have to set OpenAI key in your skills env to boot. So here's something fun. Almost every other test is going to fail now. Saying this, OpenAI key. Now, the way to resolve this is we're going to go to the abstract 8-bit test. And before each, we're going to go process.env.this equals, equals generate ID. Now, every test is going to pass except the one we just added because it's expecting it not to be set. So if I go, to configuring story generator on boot, this is not going to pass because we're going to want to actually, there it goes, expecting her to throw it in, find one. Delete. Now it's gone. Now we want to make sure that we're passing the correct key. So if we go to did boot, we're passing it. We just got to figure out how to do this. Let's go generate. Looks like we're passing OpenAI key to the constructor. I believe, don't we already have a spy story generator? So if I go story generator.test, what do we have down here? We have our mock story generator right here, down here, right? No, we don't. We have our mock OpenAI. And I wonder from here, we can use this. No, I want to use the spy story generator. Because, why? I could reuse this mock OpenAI and check that the proper key is set to the constructor. But let's just, for the sake of the exercise, let's go to on boot. And let's go test, protected static async, passes env to story generator. And let's do this. Class spy story generator implements story generator type. It's going to be mad at us because we don't implement the interface. So make command period, implement, public async. I actually don't care about that. And I'm just going to return an empty string. What I am going to do, let's see, if we go to story generator, what's the constructor of this thing look like? Here. But see, our type says no constructor options. So let's go here. And let's go, so interface, I'm going to say story generator constructor options. Let's move this to the bottom of the file. I am going to export it also. And then in here, I'm going to say options equals story generator constructor options. I wonder if this is going to cause other type issues. Let's see, command KP. That makes sense. Where's the other? Oh no, same blurb. Perfect. So let's do this. Story generator impl. No, yep, dot class equals that. Oh wait, dot this dot boot skill. And let's define our constructor. Protected. No, public constructor options. Story generator constructor options. This dot constructor. No, OpenAI key. So let's destructure that out. Options. What do we call it here? OpenAI key. Yeah, see, I'm not kind of consistent here. I did OpenAI as one word here, which is, I think, confusing. Let's do OpenAI key like that. I'm going to declare this. I'm going to say public OpenAI key. So then, then watch this. Const skill. Let's destructure skill to this. Let's go const generator equals skill.get, right? Get context. And let's go. So this is going to think it's a story generator. We want it to know it's the spy. So I'm going to say const spy equals generator as spy story generator. Just going to typecast it. Okay. Then let's go this. Cert.is equal spy.openai key equals process.env.openai key, which I did it as one word here. There. Does not equal that. All right, so let's go to here. Let's go process.env.openai key. That's some. Okay. That's it. Our story generator works. Our generate works. We might be done with this chapter. Let's take a look. So if I go here, jump into Safari. Let me open Excalidraw. Yeah. All right, we're on to chapter 7, reading and sharing your story. So we're going to create a read skill view controller, and we're going to read the results. But before we do that, let me look. When we go to generator, story generator. No, let's go to generate.listener. Did generate with the story ID. So when we get that event, we're going to redirect to read. Do we, or story.svc, read.svc? Oh my God, we already have it. So if we go to, it's going to be good. Let's go to generate.svc. Let's go to our load. Degenerate story, handle degenerate. Redirect. Sweet. Dudes, I thought we were done. We are not done. Look at this. Generate story is not returning the story. Generate story is returning the story ID. So do we have a story.builder yet? We don't. We're not done. The story generator has to actually create the story record, or in the case of Mongo, document. So we're doing another refactor. Well, this is the fun part of TDD, is we should be able to do this and not break too much. So if I go to story generator.test, this test is changing. Story generator returns response from ChatGPT. That is not right. Story generator creates story record with response from ChatGPT. So this is going to be the story ID. And let's do this. Const story equals await this dot stores. Whoops, let's call it stories plural. Dot get store stories. Dang, thought we were there, dudes. Thought we were there. This happens a lot, so it's not uncommon for this to happen, and this is what we gotta do. I couldn't find a store named stories. Valid names are families and family members. So if you're testing, you may need to run spruce create store to fix this. So let's do that. Create.store. Store. Name singular. Story. Name plural. Story. Oops. Stories. Pascal case looks fine. And then we're going to have our stories. So we're going to go, actual is not defined. That's right. But let's go define our stories schema. So if I go story.store and we scroll to the bottom of this, we got our full schema, and a story only has an ID. So rather than update the schema here, I'm actually going to create a schema that is a story. So I'm going to say readable name, story. I'm going to reuse this version. Writing builder. Then I'm going to go to story.builder. So that's done. Let that import finish, signatures, generate value types. Bam. Okay, I'm going to close this out. Go back to the test reporter, which is still going to fail because the actual is not defined. Fine with that. So let's create the story schema that will represent the document and will be the object we return from the get story listener, because we need to get the story. So let's go ID Type is text, required is true. Then let's go, should we call it content? Should we call it story? I'm gonna call it, let's just call it body. Let's call it body. We might rename that. As you could tell, we're not afraid of doing some refactors, which we've done, what, 3 times in the past chapter? And then let's go source, type, schema, options, or is required, true, options, schema. We're going to go build schema, give it an ID of story, source, fields, person ID, type ID is required, true. I'm going to go sync schemas again. Then I'm going to go to stories.store. And for the full schema, we're just going to go story schema. There it is. Enter. It has an ID. Update. So when we update, we're not going to let someone update the source. We're technically not going to let anybody update anything, but and then what's going to be stored in the database is the full thing. It looks like it adds the ID in here. It's fine. Just it'll mix in and match the signature. Okay. So now we're going to go open. And we're going to go assert.isTruthy. Oops. No, not yet. Const story equals await. Stories dot find one. ID equals story ID. And we're going to go assert.isTruthy. Story generator did not create story record. Really didn't. And then our second test, just while I'm here, I'm going to go story.body equals that. Okay. Story generator did not create a story record. It didn't. So let's get this first assertion to pass, because then immediately this next one's going to... we'll get them both. Here we go. Story generator. We're going to have to go to our generate. Let's see if we can change this to generate body. No, this is prompt. Let's do this. Generate prompt. Ooh, that's a big signature. That's gnarly. Does this say family? Family member. Okay, that's a lot, but let's keep working with it. Family, because we already have the type for family. And then what I'm going to do, instead of just having this signature with a... Wait, why is this mad? Okay. Let's type it here as family or null. Or inl, null. Okay. No, it's still mad. Why is it still mad? 8-bit stories. Oh. But our check here is supposed to make sure it doesn't come back as undefined. All right, let's do null. And let's go family bang. Why isn't that mad? Why is that? Oh, I know why. Let's turn this into an object. So that's going to be mad because generate prompt expects. So let's do this. Many parameters. We're going to change it to one just called options. And then I'm going to destructure all this out. Like this. Family members, story elements, current challenge. There. There. That's a lot easier to read, right? So story generator not create stories. Well, let's do this. Await this dot stories dot create one. Well, that's going to be mad at us because we don't have a stories property. So I'm going to go ahead and create that. Declare property stories. I'm going to go private. It's going to be the stories store. That means we've got to actually pass it through everything. So let's go into our builder method, our generate method that builds the generator method, the generator builder method. Let's go const stories equals await stores.getStore. And then let's pass it through to the constructor. Then let's go to here. Let's go stories equals stories store. Then let's destructure it out of this, add a little breathing room. Now, this dot stories equals stories. Now I expect a different error, something like missing required fields. Let's see. There it is. Missing body, missing source. So let's go body, and let's go source, person ID, Now, all those tests should pass. Not create a story record. Yes, it did. So what did we miss here? Stories, create one. Oh, I know why. In our test, we're checking that the story ID that is returned is the one that matches the story. Well, we just built ourselves into a corner there. So there's story, and we're going to return story.id. Bam, now look at that. Does not equal that, and that's the body, right? So we're going to go body, and we're going to go response.choices 0.message.content. And we're going to bang it, right? Yes. I've always seen this return. I've never seen a message come back with no content. I'm sure there's a case where that happens. I've just never seen it. And if we do see it, we'll come in and we'll write more tests if the content's empty. Throw an error. Something, right? Okay. Now we need to make sure the person ID matches. So let's go back to our story generator test and let's go assert.isEqualDeep story.source equals person ID, this dot faked person dot ID. That's it, dudes. Once we get this in, we're good. Holy cow. Now we need to pass the person ID through. So let's go to generate.listener. We have to pass the story ID all the way through. And person ID. Let's go to generate. Now we need a person ID, which is a string. Oh, not the constructor options. Is that where I added it? No, story Yeah. We don't want to do that. We want to go to the story generator options. Person ID is string. Now we should be getting some type errors. But we're not done here. Let's go here and generate. Let's go person ID. It's required, so let's do this. It's going to fail another test. So I could have gone to the test and changed the assert throws with missing and checked that it's passing the person ID. But now that we've got this double entry system really baked out, I can add something to production code and it'll fail the test. The point is the double entry. So if your code exists, it's totally fine to go update your production code and then find where it's in the test. It's the act of doing it twice that's important. So let's do this, person ID. So now a lot of things are throwing. So let's go Command KP. And payload is we're going to also omit or ignore person ID. And we're going to go into here, person ID equals this dot faked person dot ID. And I'm just going to go one at a time and fix these errors. So here's generate stories. So we're going to go person ID equals this dot faked person dot ID. This is assert generation throws invalid parameters. So let's do this. Instead of doing it there, let's go to generate story. Let's go omit person ID. Okay, so let me explain what I'm doing here. Because I had extracted out generate story and we're always, let me just see. I bet I could do the same thing with family ID. Let's go find story, generate story. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut out family ID, go omit family ID, and I'm just going to code it the same way. Whoops. Yeah. So now what I can do is I can go anywhere I'm calling generate story, and I no longer have to pass family ID either. Yeah, here. Okay, last piece of this, throws with missing, story generator, open, throws, missing. So it's this one, generate method throws with missing. So now we have person ID. I kind of think this is going to work now, right? Generate method throws with missing. Expected story elements, family members, family ID, person ID, but got. Oh, because I throw it in there. This. Let's do this. Because this is not going to fail because I'm actually passing it the things that it needs. Let's do this. There. Because if I'm always passing it, I was going to go, okay, throws if passed, bad family ID. Expected family ID, but found family members. Throws with bad. Wait, what is it? Bad family ID. Assert. Okay, so we go to here. Options, passes through, generate. Okay, let's move these up. So the things I pass override the defaults. There we go. So by making my extracted generate story always pass the things it's expecting, we have ensured that we can override it to pass something bad. So I'm not going to do the check if passed bad person ID. That's just set from the source of the events. We can depend on that always working. We could go and test it more so, but not going to do that right now. So let's go passes. This is one that's failing. Passes payload to generate. Passes. So I'm going to rename this because this is no longer the case, right? It's going to be passes expected options to generate. And it's saying we need to make sure we're passing the person ID, but I swear I am. Maybe I'm not. Command KP. So, okay, see how I'm in the generate story listener and person ID is optional? So technically, anybody who has permission, including a skill or someone who's not logged in, can emit this event. Now, what we've done, though, is if I go to generate options, see generate story options, we've created the can generate story permission. So if I go to 8.permissions, you have to be logged in. So in our case, it's always going to have a person ID because of our permissions. But if we went and changed these permissions and said, no, you actually don't have to be logged in, that person ID would come through null and it's going to fail. That's totally fine. Is we need the person ID to relate it back, and we've matched our permissions with the person. So let's go back to story generator.test and let's check. Generate the story with all members, get the story ID. Load stories based off the story ID. Do our checks. It looks good. Let's do one more refactor. Let's change this. Let's move this out of here. Go this. And then let's go up to abstract 8-bit test. And in our before each, let's do what we're doing here. Where we're just making, all stores available in all tests. So declare private. Let's change this to stories store. There. Oh, and then it's not private, it's protected. So it's available in all our tests. We have no type issues. Let's make sure our tests pass. Now we're on to the next chapter, chapter 7. That's it. We've passed. On to chapter 7. Finally.